Henry Cejudo shocked the entire fight world when he announced his retirement back in 2020 after retaining his title against Dominick Cruz at UFC 249. But after sitting out on the sidelines for more than 2 years, the messenger has decided to return to the promotion for a shot at the title. Bantamweight superstar Sean O'Malley thinks the former championship shot himself in the foot after announcing retirement. Keep watching for more on the O'Malley-Cejudo beef. First up, a bad move? We're not really sure what Sugar is trying to say here, since Henry has pretty much seen it all during his days without the promotion. He was always a really dominant fighter, and that shows considering he has a super unique achievement to his name. Henry ruled 2 divisions at the same time. He's a former double champion, having titles in both the bantam and flyweight divisions. And the way he hung up his gloves at UFC 249 wasn't a bad move either. He retained his title against the dangerous Dominick Cruz and retired as a champion.
You guys gonna bend the knee? The king's here.
So just how did he hurt himself by retiring? Well, believe it or not, Sean thinks Henry retired because of the money. It was just a plan to get the UFC to fold and offer him better money or a new contract, but nothing happened. The promotion thanked the fighter for his service and happily parted ways, only for Cejudo to come knocking at their doors after 2 long years. But we can't confirm or deny that idea, since this is what Sugar thinks. Triple C, on the other hand, claims he had enough and wanted to enjoy his freedom.
I believe I did enough to win the 4th round. Now it's 2-2. And I'm just like,
He left at the top of the food chain, and what better way to go? It's not like he was done for, right? He was the king of the division, and despite adding so much value to the promotion, he decided to retire to seek freedom and just enjoy life. Alright, makes sense. But what's Sean on about then? Is this just a tactic to one-up the former double champion? Next, an asset to the UFC. Could it really have been the money? This guy was literally at the prime of his career. He was one of the few fighters who witnessed both peaks at the same time. What do we mean by both peaks? Well, not only was Henry in the best shape of his life, but he was also very confident and composed. Seeing him fight inside the octagon during those days was legendary. You just couldn't beat him. He'd be the favorite going into every single fight, and the fact that he was a double champion just made him so much more popular. He did have a weird relationship with the fans though. Call it a cult following. Fans who loved him as a fighter would never stop supporting him, while others turned him into an online meme. So maybe it was the money. Maybe O'Malley is right about his retirement just being a ploy that backfired and cost him his title. He wasn't getting paid what he deserved, so he thought maybe he would leave and the UFC would want him back, and they didn't. So now he kind of shot himself in the foot. Let's look at things from a different perspective for a second. If he had the ability to fill up arenas and sell crazy PPV numbers, why would the UFC not want him back? It doesn't make any sense, right? Wouldn't Uncle Dana have held on to someone like Cejudo, since his name has so much value in the world of MMA? Moving on, his retirement is aging well. When you're in the fight business, you gotta be very careful with your words. Look at someone like Khabib. The Eagle did what he said.
It was my last fight, and no way I'm gonna come here without my father.
He told fans he'd never come out of retirement, no matter what the UFC threw at him. Even with someone like Jose Aldo, he's made it super clear there's nothing that could ever make him want to come back to the UFC. And the reason why we're telling you about these guys is that Henry also said something like that. When he announced his retirement back in 2020, he told the media that he doesn't ever see himself coming back to fight, since he'd rather just retire as the king. It makes sense, and it would be pretty unfair if he held that single statement against him, but it isn't aging well at all right now. It's just making what Sean said to seem more believable at this point. But that's just one side of the story we're talking about. The former double champion did say he might consider coming back if there was a really high-paying, exciting offer on the table. So either the UFC wants him back now to spice things up in the division, or Henry thinks it's easy to take over now. Just look at the landscape. We have the champ, Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, and Marlon Vera. If Henry does end up coming back in 2023, these are guys he could easily beat. So maybe he's eyeing another rise to the top. Following up, the champ is on a break. Now, whether you like it or not, the former double champion is backtracking a bit here. When he first started hinting at a potential comeback to the promotion, he said he'd never settle for anything less than a title fight. But after bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling,
Aljamain Sterling pulling it off, pursuing the finish down the stretch. Hammer fist surrender.
said he's taking a break and wouldn't be taking another fight until the middle of 2023 at least. Both Henry and Sean have changed their game plans. Instead of hanging back and waiting for the champ to put his title on the line, O'Malley wants to revisit an old chapter and fight the exciting Marlon Vera, with the winner taking on Aljamain. It's not a bad idea, to be honest.
Sean O'Malley takes on Marlon Vera.
A Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera fight is interesting. Both these guys have a history, since Vera is the only guy in the division to have put away Sean. And the fact that Sugar is willing to make this happen is very gutsy, because Marlon pretty much has a cheat sheet. He kept on targeting Sean's leg over and over again until it finally gave in. He struggled with mobility before finally going down, only for Vera to pound him and shut off the lights. So yeah, there's definitely some history between the two gentlemen, and if we're talking about it in terms of saleability, it's a fight that would bring in a lot of money. But there's just one obstacle in the way, and his name is Henry Cejudo. Up next, the third island boy. Look guys, we have nothing against the island boys.
Hey, I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy. I'm just keyword one.
But you gotta hand it to Henry for coming up with something so hilarious. After hearing Sean talk about a potential fight against Vera, Henry hit back, and he hit back hard. He called Sugar the third island boy and immediately tried to shut down his title campaign. Because remember how he said the winner would get a shot at the title? Well, if the UFC makes that fight, then it pretty much means they've agreed to the terms and conditions. If O'Malley is successful at landing a fight with Marlon and putting him away, he'll be the front runner. A shot at the bantamweight title would be a guarantee, but a lot of fans are arguing Sugar has done enough, and even if he decides to sit back, he should still get a shot at the title once Sterling wants to fight again. But Cejudo didn't even let that slide. He said his decision victory over Petr Yan was super controversial since he didn't do enough to get the victory. Instead of hitting Sean with all that, why not fight the judges? It's not like he made them score the fight in his favor, right? He obviously did enough to get the W. So what we should be doing right now is reading between the lines. All this is just to block Sean's path to the title. He wants to be back so he can fight the war inside the cage and put himself ahead in the race for the title. Last but not least, a game of chess. In a world where everyone is playing checkers, Henry and Sean are in a chess battle right now. They know things are going to get really tricky since both of them are legitimate contenders for the title. Henry retired as a champion, and Sean's the only guy in the division with a lot of momentum to take on the champ.
In and out, he does a
And if we're being honest, we think Henry's angle is better. Instead of fighting Vera, Triple C thinks Sean should fight him. Just imagine that for a second. Henry Cejudo versus Sean O'Malley. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? We definitely pay to watch these two guys battle it out inside the cage, since they do have an online feud going on right now. And judging from how things are looking right now, it's only going to get bigger. All eyes are on Uncle Dana now. Let's see which fight he takes. We're sort of rooting for Henry's idea here, but we wouldn't mind a rematch against Marlon either. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Is Sean right about Henry retiring because of the money? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos in the future. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time.